My wife Sarah and I were the perfect couple, or so everyone thought. We had a beautiful home, a wonderful son named Leo, and a love that seemed unshakable. But one ordinary Tuesday, our perfect world shattered. Sarah came home from work to find the house strangely quiet. On the dining table, where we shared countless meals, sat a plain white envelope and my wedding ring, glinting under the dim light. I was gone. The envelope held a simple, heartbreaking note. "I'm sorry. I have to go. Don't look for me." Sarah's world crumbled. She called my phone, but it went straight to voicemail. She called my friends, my family, our colleagues. No one had seen me or heard from me. It was as if I had vanished into thin air. The police were called. A missing person report was filed, but every lead went cold. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months. Sarah was left with 1,000 unanswered questions and a gaping hole in her heart. Why would I leave? Where did I go? Was I even alive? The pain was immense, but for Leo's sake, she had to be strong. She put on a brave face, raised our son alone, and tried to piece together a life that had been so brutally torn apart. The years passed. Leo grew from a confused little boy into a fine young man, a mirror of the father he barely remembered. He was her rock, her reason for getting up every morning. She poured all her love and energy into him, ensuring he never felt the full weight of my absence. She'd never remarried, a part of her still holding on to a sliver of hope, another part too wounded to ever trust again. The mystery of my disappearance became a silent, ever-present ghost in their lives. 3 years later, the day of Leo's wedding arrived. It was a bittersweet occasion for Sarah. She was overflowing with pride and joy for her son. But my absence felt more profound than ever. She pictured me standing beside her, smiling, ready to watch our boy start his own family. As she stood near the back of the sun-drenched garden where the ceremony was being held, her heart ached with a familiar pang of loss. She smoothed down her dress, took a deep breath, and prepared to walk Leo down the aisle. Just then, she saw him. Across the lawn, talking to one of the guests, was a man who looked strikingly familiar. The way he stood, his posture, the turn of his head, it was also achingly recognizable. Her breath caught in her throat. It couldn't be. But as he turned, their eyes met, and the world stopped spinning. It was me. I was older, my face etched with lines of hardship she didn't recognize, and my hair was grayer, but it was undoubtedly me. A storm of emotions crashed over her. Shock, anger, relief, and a deep, gut-wrenching betrayal. She felt her knees go weak. Here I was, at our son's wedding, acting like a casual guest after 3 years of torturous silence. She took a step forward, then another, her gaze locked on mine. As she approached, the smile on my face faltered, replaced by a look of panic and regret. The guests around us faded into a blur. It was just the two of us, suspended in a moment 3 years in the making. She stopped just a few feet away, her voice a raw whisper. My name is Mark, and this is the story of why I had to leave my family to save them. It didn't start with a secret affair or a hidden debt. It started with a phone call, a threat that made my blood run cold. My past, a life I thought I had left far behind, had finally caught up with me. Before I was a husband and a father, I worked in a world of shadows, a world where mistakes were paid for in blood. An old enemy, a man named Victor, had been released from prison, and he was seeking revenge. He made it clear. He wouldn't just come after me. He would destroy everything I loved. He would start with Sarah and Leo. The threat was not empty. I knew what Victor was capable of. Going to the police was not an option. His influence ran deep, and it would only put my family in more danger. I was trapped. I could either stay and watch my world burn, or I could disappear, becoming the target and drawing the danger away from them. The choice was agonizing, but it was no choice at all. Their safety was paramount. That night, I wrote the note, each word a dagger to my own heart. I couldn't tell Sarah the truth. Knowing would make her a target. Ignorance was her shield. Leaving my wedding ring was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was a symbol of my broken promise, a final, painful goodbye. I packed a small bag, drained my personal bank account, and walked away from my life, from my soul, from everything that mattered. For 3 years, I lived on the run, a ghost in my own life. I moved from city to city, taking menial jobs for cash, always looking over my shoulder. I changed my name, my appearance, everything. Every day was a battle for survival, not just against Victor's network, but against the crushing weight of what I had lost. I'd see a family in a park, and my heart would shatter. I followed news from my hometown from a distance, using untraceable networks, desperate for any glimpse of Sarah and Leo. Seeing them in pictures, knowing they were safe, was the only thing that kept me going. During this time, I wasn't just hiding. I was gathering information, using my old skills to build a case against Victor, something solid that the authorities couldn't ignore. I funneled anonymous tips, evidence of his illegal operations, to a trusted contact in federal law enforcement. It was a slow, dangerous process. Victor was smart, and his network was vast. Morita non se, I had close calls, escaping his men by a hair's breadth. I lived in a constant state of fear, not for myself, but for the possibility that they might find a link back to Sarah and Leo. Finally, after 3 long years, my efforts paid off. The evidence was overwhelming. Victor and his entire organization were taken down in a series of coordinated raids. The threat was finally neutralized. He was going away for life, this time with no chance of parole. The news reached me through my contact, who confirmed it was over. Primera, ese free. The first thing I wanted to do was run home, to fall at Sarah's feet and explain everything. But how could I? 3 years of silence, 3 years of her believing I had abandoned her. The damage was immense. I learned about Leo's engagement through my discreet inquiries. The thought of missing my own son's wedding was unbearable. I had to see him. I had to see her. I told myself I would stay in the background, just a face in the crowd, to catch one glimpse of the family I had sacrificed everything for. It was a selfish plan, but the pull was too strong to resist. So there I was, standing in the sunlight at my son's wedding, a free man but a prisoner of my own choices. And then she saw me. The look in her eyes was not the one I had dreamed of. It was forgiveness or understanding. It was a maelstrom of pain and fury. I deserved it all. "Where have you been?" Sarah's voice was barely audible, yet it cut through the cheerful music and laughter around us. How could you? Tears welled in her eyes, tears of anger, not sadness. Before I could answer, Leo, alerted by the sudden tension, was by her side. He looked from his mother's stricken face to mine. Confusion warred with a flicker of recognition in his eyes. "Mom?" "Who is this?" he asked. The moment I had dreaded and longed for was here. I opened my mouth, the whole story, the whole truth, balanced on the tip of my tongue. "Leo," I stuttered, my voice hoarse. I'm your father." The story tumbled out of me. Right there in the middle of the wedding reception, the guests watched in stunned silence as I explained everything: the threat from Victor, the impossible choice, the years on the run. I showed them news clippings on my phone about Victor's arrest, proof that the danger was real. Sarah listened, her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Leo stood beside her, his face a canvas of shock and dawning comprehension. When I finished, silence descended. It was Sarah who spoke first. "You expect me to believe this? You disappear for 3 years. You let us think you were dead or that you just didn't love us anymore. And you show up with this movie plot." Her voice trembled with rage. "You had no right to make that choice for us. We were a family. We should have faced it together. I did it to protect you." I pleaded. "He would have hurt you. I couldn't live with that. And I was supposed to live with you being gone." She shot back. "Do you have any idea what you put us through? What you put your son through?" Leo finally spoke, his voice quiet but firm. "Mom, maybe we should listen." He turned to me. "If what you're saying is true, you did all that for us." Over the next few hours, as the wedding wound down, we talked. We found a quiet corner, away from the prying eyes of the remaining guests. Leo asked questions, trying to understand the father he never knew. Sarah remained mostly silent, the wall around her heart still standing. but I saw cracks beginning to form. She saw the truth in my eyes, in the details of my story, in the raw pain that matched her own. The road back was not easy. It wasn't a fairy tale reunion. Sarah couldn't just forgive and forget 3 years of agony. We started with therapy, both individually and as a couple. There were shouting matchas, tearful nights, and days filled with heavy silence. I had to earn back their trust, one painful step at a time. I had to get to know my son, who was now a married man. I had missed his teenage years, his graduation, so many milestones. But slowly, tentatively, healing began. Leo, with the open heart of youth, was the first to start bridging the gap. He wanted a father. Sarah, seeing my unwavering commitment and genuine remorse, gradually let her guard down. She began to see the man she fell in love with beneath the scars of the man who had left. It wasn't about forgiveness, not at first. It was about understanding. Understanding the impossible choice I faced and the love that drove it. Today, our family is different. We are not the perfect couple from years ago. We are something stronger, more real. We are survivors. Our love is not a fairy tale. It's a testament to resilience, forged in fire and rebuilt on a foundation of difficult truths. I learned that protecting your family sometimes means fighting for them, not running from them. And we all learned that the deepest wounds can heal, and a family, even one that has been shattered, can find its way back to wholeness. Thank you for listening.